Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is your host Majestic speaking, and today we're going to be looking into some more MechWarrior Online here. But first, before I get into what we're going to be running around with today, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Right now, I think I'm at the time of recording this video, I think I was at like 930 or something subscribers. And I also noticed, so we are getting pretty close, but I also noticed that the Kodiak has made its way into the pre-order lineup on the MWO website. So if you would rather have the Kodiak other than what you had sent in the previous emails for your submissions, only once I give out the results. So I have everyone's name who does want to participate in the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, and there are a lot of you, but at the same time, I just wanted to keep you guys posted that if you do want the Kodiak, after I announce the winners on the giveaway video results, you know, I'm going to be posting that video once I hit the 1,000 subscribers. Once I post those results, if you are one of the winners that I mention in that video, I want you to email me after you hear your name called. I don't want you to send another submission in now and be like, oh, I want to change now, you know, this, that. It only makes a duplicate copy for your email and everything like that, and I don't want to mix anything up. So if you already have your name submitted, that's all that matters right now. So you could just send an email, say you want to participate in the giveaway. You don't have to say like which mech or anything that you want. But once I do give away, or you know, give that video and you guys know the results and who the 10 winners are, then only then afterwards do I want you to send me an email with your preference. And so now the Kodiak is included. If you would like the standard pack for the Kodiak, that rhymes. If you want the standard pack for the Kodiak, or you want, you know, one of the others, whether it's the Archer, the Rifleman, or the Warhammer, just make mention of it in the video if you are one of the winners. So if you're one of the winners, only send your email afterwards. That's how I want to run it, just so that I don't mix up any names or do duplicate submissions or anything like that. So please just keep that in mind in case you do want you know, a certain mech pack or anything like that. Only send it after that video. I know I've said that like 3 times, but just make sure that you guys are listening. So in any case, let's move on to the video for today. This is another one of the competitive builds that you will see out there on the battlefield. So whether you're deciding to join a more relaxed unit, MRBC, or go into a world tournament, whenever those decide to be, these are the mechs that you're going to be seeing out there very frequently. A, because of their durability, B, because of their speed and quirks that are involved, and C, because of their loadout. So these are the mechs that are all-around, all-purpose mechs for their weight class. And so I did a medium last week with the Wolverine 6K, and this time I want to bring out a new-found favorite of mine. When it first came out, I wasn't too keen on it, but now with the additional structure quirks and you know, everything that this is built around, I bring you the BlackKnight. Yes, this is an Inner Sphere heavy. It is definitely one of the mechs of choice out there right now, only because of the additional structure quirks. But before we dive into the quirks and the loadout, I first want you guys to realize the positioning of the hardpoints on this mech. It has 0 missile, 0 ballistic hardpoints, but it has 8 hardpoints for lasers or energy weapons. So obviously, it's not really a matter of can I laser boat it. It's more of a matter of you have to laser boat it because that's all you're given. So that's what I obviously am going with on there. But I just want you guys to recognize the positioning of these lasers. They are very, very low mounts on these lasers, both on the torsos and on the arms. So you know, we do have to keep that in mind on the battlefield, and I will describe exactly how this thing should be played in just a little bit. But let's dive first into the quirks that set this thing apart from the rest. Obviously, because it has 8 energy hardpoints, and that's it. Oh, it does too have 2 AMS hardpoints, but really, who gives a shit about those? Anyway, so we're going to look at the energy quirks that this thing caters to. Energy heat generation bonus of 10%, energy cooldown bonus of 10%, energy range bonus 20%. So again, playing that range game, obviously with the cooldown and the heat generation quirks, that makes this thing, and with the hard points that are involved in it, that's what makes this thing so outstanding for a mech to take out there in a competitive setting. You know, obviously you do have to make the investment into making sure that this thing is quirked and beefed up to the fullest extent that it possibly can, and that's exactly what I did. Took a ton of C-bills to do, but, you know, again, just like the Wolverine 6K, in case you get put in that competitive setting, you don't want to put yourself at a disadvantage. So before I even start going through my loadout on this thing, I will tell you it is a mastered mech, so it has everything, all the bells and whistles, you know, speed tweak, quick fire, cool run, kinetic burst, you name it, it's got it all. I will go through the modules in just a second, but I just want you guys to understand and realize and kind of appreciate, you know, these kind of loadouts and these quirks that are involved with these kind of mechs. You know, these are mechs that have been very have been researched substantially. And you know, to test them out on the battlefield is a whole different deal than in the group and competitive queues than it is in the, you know, pug queue. So just keep that in mind, that this is definitely one of the mechs that is favored right now on the battlefield for a heavy. It's definitely one of choice. Everyone knows, you know, that these are the kind of builds that are being run on this thing when you see it, and most of the time, and I'm going to dive into the loadout here, they will know that it has an XL engine. So that right there, I'm going to start, you know, I'll start off by addressing the cons. I did mention the low slung arms and the fact that it does need an XL engine in order to fit this loadout, but because of the fact that it has an XL engine, it is a heavy. It has additional structure quirks, so you are able to add more more armor hard points to it, so that you can actually deliver those blows. And I'll explain more on that in a second. But first, we'll just look at the loadout really quick. 3 large pulse lasers, 4 mediums, and I know some of you might be looking at the mech stats box down here, and I'll explain that as well. But you know, I did put double heat sinks, endo steel on there. I can't fit ferrofibrous to add up some more tonnage for some heat sinks because I don't have enough slots. So this is definitely one of the selective builds for this mech. It is absolutely devastating, and it's a fantastic mech to run on the battlefield. I'm kid you not when I tell you it is double XP weekend. I will say that. So, but I mastered this thing in, I think, 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, just because of the sheer damage that this thing was putting out. From an alpha standpoint and from a range standpoint, the large pulse lasers work wonders because not only do you have the range quirk, but you have 3 of them. So you're trading at an extreme distance, which gives you a very, very solid advantage out there on the battlefield. It's completely full. I mean, 75 out of 75 tons. All the armor is filled except for 8 total, which are, no, 8 in the legs, excuse me, 8 in the legs and 22 missing off the left arm. I'm not utilizing that energy hardpoint in the left arm, so all I did was stick a heat sink in there because, you know, to make this thing as heat efficient as possible. And, you know, so it has 75 out of 75 tons, 76 out of 78 slots being used, and only 30 points of armor have been taken off, 4 in each leg, and again 22 in the left arm. Not utilizing it, so I just shoved a heat sink in there. Now, I know I always preach about, you know, keeping your heat management above 1.2. But, and this is probably one of those extremely rare situations where I am allowing it to dip below, just below that threshold. And this thing has a 1.17 heat management ratio because not only does it have fantastic heat dissipation, it has 19 double heat sinks, 10 in the engine, 9 external that I placed on there, but the quirks that are involved cater to you being able to, you know, cool down quickly, fire off these lasers repeatedly, and not really hit that threshold unless you're on a very, very significantly hot map like Terra Therma, Tourmaline, even Caustic Valley you might get a little hot. But my point is that between the dissipation and the quirks, that is the only reason behind why I allowed myself to dip behind the 1.2 heat management ratio. So it is at 1.17. But with the 19 double heat sinks, that heat is going away super fast. And, you know, with the quirks that are involved between the heat generation, the range, and the cooldown, you know, I mean, the cooldown isn't gonna help my case, but the heat generation, you know, that adds another 10%. So technically, I guess if you want to technically speak, that would bring me above that 1.2 heat management threshold. But that's the reason why I was accepting of this build. It does trade at a range, and that's what it's used for. You trade at a range with the large pulse lasers, and then, you know, once you're really up close, then and only then will you be using an alpha. So if I do get put on a skirmish map where we are close range, I will be using my alpha more and more, because the devastation from one alpha with this thing is so real, it's so potent, that there's no chance in hell that you're going to tell me that the enemy is going to sit there and just take it. Alright? They're not going to want to have multiple volleys from this thing. So just keep that in mind. If I'm in close quarters, I will be using an alpha. If I do have, I'll show you my modules in a second, but, you know, if I am within range to use an alpha, and, you know, I know that they're not paying attention or they're critted or something like that, I will use the alpha. But again, the large pulse lasers are what's going to help get your team into position. With the XL360, it goes 83.5 kph. It is fully mastered, so again, you know, it does have the speed tweak and everything in there to let it go 83. Firepower, on an alpha, you're doing 53 points of damage. That, I don't care who you are, that's almost assault level kind of damage. And, you know, for an alpha. And to put that on a heavy that's going 83.5 kph, although it is an XL engine, is absolutely, you know, to even... I'm just not going to talk anymore. Yeah, you guys will see it in a second. Again, I'm only going to be doing one round on this thing, so you guys, I hope, gain and grasp as much information as you possibly can during that one round, and I'm going to be, again, playing to this thing's, you know, special quirks, abilities, and that alpha is just going to be so real, and you'll see they'll back up. They do not want to be in front of this thing when I set these lasers off. So, with that being said, let's jump into the modules here. Completely outfitted. Again, medium laser range, level 5, and large pulse laser range, level 5. They both add a 10% bonus to my range. Advanced seismic sensor to sense any mechs that are within the 250 meter radius of my mech. And then target info gathering, so that I can pick out those critical slots, you know, focus in on them, and hopefully either sever or critically blow up one of my opponents, and you know, certainly give us the advantage. Have to go with cool shots on this. No need for even thinking about any airstrikes or arty strikes or anything. This thing is all about maintaining that heat management, because you will alpha. You will be getting in people's faces with this mech. There's no doubt about it. So just keep that in mind. Definitely recommend the cool shots. Definitely recommend these modules. Some might want to switch out the target info gathering with radar deprivation. That's totally fine. Just so that you instantly, you know, disappear. In other words, when you're out of sight, which is fine. You know, people like to switch in these mechs, you know, modules here and there, all over the place. So. But one that I do definitely recommend all the time is the advanced seismic sensor. It is very expensive, but at the same time, you know, if you're going to be putting 15 million C-bills into just modules for a mech, you know, that's more than most mechs are, you know, the cost-wise in the game by themselves. So, you know, you really have to pick and choose your modules carefully. So that's what I decided to go with. Again, I did put the blood-packed paint on there. Blood-packed BlackKnight. Wow, trying to say that 10 times fast. So anyway, the colors that I went with, Davian, Hot Rod Red, and Hot Rod Black, and I think this thing looks pretty frickin' sweet looking. I gotta admit, I did a bang-up job. You know, I'm not afraid to you know, compliment myself when I know that I think it looks pretty good. So this is the loadout that I decided to go with, and again, because of the mounts and the positioning of these hard points. With this kind of positioning, you have to expose this mech. And that's the reason for the additional structure quirks, because you will be exposing yourself. And that's not in a sexual term. It's not like, you know, exposing, you know, in public or anything like that I'm referring to. I'm talking about the mech itself. You have to come out from behind walls in order to get these things to fire. And that's the only way that you're actually going to be able to deal any damage, because they are so low, you can't poke up above a hill and think that you know, this one high mount is really going to, I mean, it will hit, but at the same time, this is where your firepower comes from. No one likes to get hit with all of this at one time. It is laser vomit, but look at the hard points you're given. You have to laser vomit with it. So just keep that in mind. There will be a lot of exposure on this mech if you decide to use it. You cannot hide behind walls. You have to be out in the open, which is why those additional structure hard points come into play. So just keep that in mind. But in any case, let's get through this one round, and you guys could see the devastation that this thing does provide. You know, I usually, you know, see it as if you do any better than, you know, 500 or 600 damage, you've had an excellent round. So, you know, that's usually on average what you're getting is 500 to 600. I'm not saying like some of your my best rounds come 500, 600. You know, with this kind of build, you should be able to deal that down. If you're in the right position, you could certainly land some serious punishment on mechs that are either out of position, or if you're, you know, I like to lead the charge kind of from a flanking perspective with this thing. We'll see how our team sets up this time, but you know, you can't go wrong really. If you're in a flank and you're leading with this thing, they will run. I'm telling you, it's terrifying. It really is terrifying. And this, you know, I underrated this mech for the longest time until I saw people like really getting into it and seeing why they like this mech. So hopefully we could get a good round here, and you guys could just see exactly how this thing functions. And maybe I'll do a drop call for this, and I can help us get into the spirit of the competitive play here. Hopefully everyone listens to me. I don't even know any of these people, but let's see what we can do here. So all the commentary will be through radio contact from this point out. Alright guys, let's cap Epsi, and then if we could get 2 lights to head over and grab Theta, that'd be great. Rad, if there's anything over there, can you let us know?
Yeah, we'll do.
And that's one alpha that he probably didn't want to encounter.
Target acquired.
Yeah, he's crit already. Not gonna like this. But again, you have to expose with this thing. That's the only way you're gonna deal any damage, so keep that in mind. He's already going to lose his torso.
Level critical.
Oh, crap, I overheat just on the threshold of that heat. Oh, boy. Okay, we survived.
Heat level critical.
Yeah, that Warhammer's not liking me very much. Alright, guys, stay aggressive. Watch the caps. They're getting 3 of them on us at a time, so... Took his arm off. That stalker is going to be useless now. Or partially useless. Yeah, you don't like that, do you, sir?
New target acquired.
Alright, let's move in on them. They're moving towards the dropship. Took his arm off, so now he's not going to want to play anymore.
New target acquired. Heat level critical.
Yeah, he's red. He's all. Actually, he's orange.
Heat level critical.
He went down. There we go. Nice work, guys. Keep up the pressure. Move forward.
Heat level critical.
Oh, I knew I was going to overheat. Crap, in front of an Atlas. Duck. I fell. Come on. Get in the position. At least I'd give myself a chance to cool down.
Target destroyed.
Good night.
Target acquired.
Ah, BlackKnight versus BlackKnight. Come here, you little runt.
Destroyed. Heat level critical.
Oh, come on, are you kidding me? Did you see that? That's total...
Destroyed.
fail. But that was a serious round of gameplay for you guys. Excellent work. Nice job, guys. Definitely, oh my goodness. 1,042 damage. Okay, so clearly, even on a cold map like this, you do have to watch your heat. I overheated a couple times, but it is a skirmishy, brawly kind of map, so you do have to keep that in mind. Your alphas really deal the punishment. And like I said, I did have to expose more than not. My left arm, like I said, I didn't have anything on there, so that's why I wasn't afraid to turn against that BlackKnight so that he could get some DPS on me if he wanted to. It more absorbed the damage than anything. I had to protect my torsos because of the fact that I didn't want them to blow off, because if they did, then pop goes the weasel, and I didn't want to be in that situation. But as you can see, just from the sheer numbers, almost double the damage of everyone on the team. This thing really punishes. And when you're in the right setting, like I said, that's just the damage that this thing is capable of. You just have to be aware of those low mounts, because as long as you can actually expose on your targets and so forth, that's how you you can actually get a good shot off. And if they're not paying attention to you, then the damage is just unreal. I mean, you saw I was just chopping off limbs left and right, getting those critical shots where I could. And it was all close range. It was all close range. So I'd rather have, I tried, chain firing, going with the large pulse lasers and the mediums. But once my right torso was exposed, to help with that final push to get over the edge, I didn't mind, obviously overheating a couple times. I figured, they would back up anyway, just from the alpha. My team would be able to back me up, and that's what happened. We rolled them right over that the drop ship crash, and there you have it. A very successful round. An awesome mech to take out there on the battlefield. But oh my gosh, wait! I just made it into tier 1. Are you kidding? You can see this bar isn't even full. Okay, look at the beginning of the video. If I'm right, I think I just went into tier 1. I'm pretty sure I just hit tier 1. I think this is the first time I've been in tier 1 ever. That is pretty cool, especially on a competitive build video. I think that this played out perfectly, guys. I think you can agree. Yes, I overheated and stuff like that, but that's kind of the trick of the trade with this thing. You will be dealing serious punishment, but at the same time, your heat does become a huge factor, even on a map like Frozen City. But again, it was all close range combat. I wouldn't have changed anything that I did out there, so I'm not even going to sit here and speculate what could have happened, what would have happened, how it could have been managed better. You saw the results, and I think the results speak for themselves. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the competitive build series on MechWarrior Online. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, feel free to send in an email, which I will leave in the description below, if you do want to participate in the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I really do appreciate all of the support that I've gotten so far, and we are so close to reaching the 1,000 subscriber mark. So I really am looking forward to you know, seeing you guys out there on the battlefield, and yeah, I guess. Oh well, yeah. Become royal today and subscribe to the channel. Leave a like, or you know, a comment in the section, or shoot me a private email if you want something to be answered apart from the giveaway. So, thank you guys so much again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.